This video is for the 2016 second free response question. This question involves two classes that are used to process log messages from a computer. A list of sample log messages given below. Log messages have the format of a machine ID, a colon, and then a description, where machine ID identifies the computer, such as server 1, server 2, and then there's a colon, and the description describes the event being logged. Exactly one colon appears in a log message. There are no blanks either immediately before or immediately after the colon. The following log message class is used to represent a log message. So here you see the machine ID and description as a piece of instance data. We're going to create the log message constructor in part A. We're going to write a method for contains a certain word in part B. And I think there's a part C too, and we'll get to that in a second. All right, so here we go. So creating the log message isn't going to be too technically difficult. What we're going to do is we're going to get the long message, and then we have to tear it apart. And so then we can populate the message ID and the description. So this message that we're getting is one of these messages. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search for the index of parameter. So I'm going to say, excuse me, int x equal message index of. So this is going to tell us the breakpoint in this long string of where we can identify the first half being the machine ID and the second half being the description. So once I know this integer value, then I can find the machine ID. I can say machine ID equals message, and we're going to use the substring command, which you should be familiar with. And we're going to start at 0, and we're going to go all the way up to x. And remember, for the command with two parameters, we're actually going to stop at the index 1 less than x. Then we can do the same thing with the description, but this time we're going to start at 1 more than the value of x. So we'll say message dot substring, and we can say x plus 1, and we can use just this one command because we'll start from this index value, and this will take us all the way to the end of the word. So that completes our constructor for log message. Now for part B, the contains word method returns true if the description in the log message properly contains a given word and false otherwise. So what does it mean to properly contain a word if all three of the following conditions are true? Properly contains would mean the keyword is a substring of the description. The keyword is either at the beginning or at the end of the description, or it is immediately preceded by a space. The keyword is either at the end of the description or is it immediately followed by a space. The following table shows several examples. The description in the left table properly contains the keyword disk. Here it is. It's part of the substring. Here's one where it has a space before, is either at the end of the description or is immediately followed by a space. That would qualify here. Or it's either at the beginning or it is immediately preceded by a space. Now, this would not work because there's a 3 tacked on. This one is capitalized. Here we don't have a space preceding, and again here it is not just the word by itself. So this one's going to be kind of complicated because we have to check a lot of things. So we're going to go ahead and let me just start on the next page because the header's already written out, I believe. Let me go to page 9. All right, so we're going to be returning a Boolean from this method. So I'm going to start off by checking first to see if it's case 1 where it's just the description only contains the keyword. So if I say description equals keyword. If this is true, then I know that my description properly contains the keyword, and that's the only thing it contains, so I could return true. Now, if this is not the case, then what we can do, we can check for the keyword and then a space after. So we can say if description index of the keyword concatenated with a space. So in other words, the keywords available with a space after, and we're going to say equals 0 because it's at the beginning, then I would return true. So this is the case. It's the first word in the description followed by a space. So if that is not the case, then now I'm going to check if there's a space or before and after. So I'm going to say if description index of, and I'm going to say a space concatenated with the keyword, concatenated with a space after, this is my symbol for a space, equals, is not equal to -1. In other words, we find that word in there somewhere, then I can return true. Now there's some other things that we're going to want to check for as well. And that's if it's buried inside of another word. So we're going to say if description dot length is longer than the keyword dot length, and we haven't satisfied any of the other requirements, then we're going to have to do a little more digging. So we're going to say if the description substring, what we're going to do is we're going to take the length of the keyword. So we're going to take that, I see, we're going to do a calculation. We're going to take the length of the entire description. Let me start. I think I made a mistake here. Let me erase this. All right, we're going to make a substring from description. We're going to start with the length of the description, and we're going to subtract from it the keyword length. And then we're going to subtract 1 from that. And then, so we're going to make that, and then we're going to say if that equals the keyword. Then we will return true. So this is where it's at the end of the description. Okay, and if it's not by itself, if it's not at the beginning, if it's not surrounded by the space, that means it's at the end. In any of those, it would return true. So if it's not any of those, we'd have to return a false. So that one is pretty complicated. Now, part C, system log represents a series of log messages. It provides a method that removes and returns a list of all log messages that properly contain a given word. The message and the return list appear in the same order in which they originally appeared in the system log. If no message properly contains the keyword, an empty list is returned. The declaration of the system log class is shown below. Now, I'm going to let you go through some of these examples, but this problem is definitely expecting you to make use of the contains word method that you just wrote in part B. So I'm approaching the time limit. I'm going to stop this video.